Ready? So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the opening of the Wilson Street Garage. It's a project that has taken a lot of coordination, a lot of planning, and a lot of years to get to this point. My name is Kristen Brodowski. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for the City Madison Parking Division. I would like to give you kind of an idea of how this will go, and then we'll get into the speaking. So our lineup will be represented by the Parking Division, which would be the Assistant Parking Manager, Sabrina Tully. Then we've got the Engineering Division, where their PIO, or their Public Information Officer, will be speaking on their behalf. That would be Hannah Molininski. We've got the President of the Downtown Madison Inc., and that's Jason Ilstrup. And then we've got District 4's Alder, Mike Verveer here. Then we'll conclude the opening with the official opening, and that will be an electric vehicle being driven in to start it out, and that will be done by our Parking Division, Sabrina Tully. And then after it concludes, you're welcome to look around, take pictures, ask questions. If you have any other things you would like to know a little bit more detail about, we'd be happy to fill you in for a story. And then a link will be provided after this is concluded later this afternoon, so we've got that. Thank you again for coming, and we'll begin with Parking Division Sabrina Tully.
Good morning, and thank you everyone for coming today. I want to start out by recognizing the many staff, stakeholders, and partners who have worked to make today's opening of the Wilson Street Garage a reality. George Austin, Judge Rail Project Director, Planning Community and Economic Development staff, including recently retired Director Natalie Erdman, have led years of planning and project coordination efforts and a cross-departmental team of city staff from PCED, City Engineering, Parking, Finance Department, Department of Civil Rights, City Attorney's Office, and Monona Terrace. I also want to thank current and former City Council and Commission members, two of our members here today, who put in many long hours over the years engaging with the public at late night evening meetings and thoughtful discussion and decision making, and particularly the District Alder, Alder Mike Verveer, who has joined us today and will be speaking later. Hannah from City Engineering will speak to the design and construction aspects of the project in greater detail. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the design team, LVDA, and general contractor, JP Cullen, who have been phenomenal partners on the project. And lastly, the work of Dave Schaller from City Engineering, who has been an incredible project manager and simultaneously managed two garage projects for the Parking Division, this one and the South Livingston Street Garage that opened in December of 2018. And so while the opening of a public parking garage, aside from those of us here and maybe a few others, may not seem that exciting, but this garage represents much more than a building where cars are parked. I will serve a vital role at the economic vitality of downtown and provides access for residents to government offices, local businesses, employment, events, and entertainment. The Wilson Street Garage replaces the Government East Garage, which was built more than 60 years ago and was the city's first ever public parking garage. The Government East has been historically one of the Parking Division's highest demand facilities, and the construction of this new facility will ensure continued public access to the area. It is also fitting that the garage replacing the city's first public parking garage also marks a couple of other firsts for the city. The Wilson Street Garage is the Parking Division's first underground parking structure, built to allow for greater density and development opportunities on the site. Another first is the new centralized customer service ambassador office located here near the entrance of Wilson. And while you'll notice there are no cashier booths in Lane, a new customer service ambassador position will continue to provide a staff presence and customer service support at this garage office. The very first parking ambassadors are former parking cashiers who were promoted through an internal competitive hiring process. And with any brand new position, we do expect there'll be a period of transition and refining operations. But the goal of that new position in the office is to provide expanded on-site services and hours that were previously only available during the weekday at the transportation's main office in the Madison Municipal Building. And it is intended that this will really help serve as a satellite office with folks able to buy bus passes, get monthly parking services, and also distribute information such as bike and downtown maps, provide general customer assistance, and then in addition, they'll be monitoring the facility and supporting daily parking operations. And as I wrap up my remarks and get ready to hand over the mic here to the next speaker, I want to end by recognizing several of my staff from the parking division. Bill Putnam, parking engineer, and field supervisors and staff, Dan Valenza, David Wills, Mike Muller, John Cottom, and others who have been instrumental in the design, planning, and implementation of aspects unique to operating a public parking structure and preparing for today's opening. Thank you.
Parking. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hannah Molinitsky. I'm a public information officer for the City of Madison Engineering Division. And of course, I'm proud to speak on behalf of my division today, especially our facilities management team. Our facilities section is the glue to many projects here at the city, connecting city services, resources, contractors, architects, and more, much more, to even get a project like this, Wilson Street Garage, completed from design through construction to warranty. So talking with everybody here just before the press conference this morning, there's this overall sigh of relief that this project, so much work, so many decisions, so much work and coordination and teamwork has taken us to this day where we can stand in this beautiful garage. And yes, it is a beautiful parking garage this morning. This project, like Sabrina had mentioned, many years in the making, and really standing here today to see how modern and beautiful this garage is to serve our community is pretty remarkable. From planning, construction, development, negotiations over the years, again, it's taken so many stakeholders and partnerships to get us to this point to open to the public today. One of our construction managers in the facilities section, Dave Schaller, has been the constant over the years to get this project done. I'd like to thank Dave right now for all of his coordination and work with all of the stakeholders. So could we give a little bit for Dave? Yes. As all the stakeholders know, this is not easy being the glue and trying to get this done. So we are so proud of everybody and what it's taken to get to this day. All the other stakeholders, just some, like Sabrina mentioned, the general contractor, JP Cullen, project architects, LVDA. Also a special thank you to leadership from George Austin and Natalie Erdman. We really, really appreciate your partnership and leadership in all of this. Couple of things to highlight from an engineering structural perspective: 560 parking stalls, 240,000 square feet we're standing on here. Also, there'll be a free public bike parking on the ground floor from Doty, moped and bike parking also in the garage, which has a separate non-gated entry from Wilson Street. Of course, you'll hear more about those and the EV charging stations. 10 of them this garage will have for city electric, city use, and 4 for public use. We also are very proud that this garage was designed and built to support future development above the garage. And also, as you've probably covered already and seen on the sides, the beautiful art, the local art and local artists partnership we've been working with everybody to make this garage unique. Okay, and there's still a lot of work to be done. We can't forget about good old Government East. She has been wonderfully loved and used for many, many, many years, as Sabrina mentioned. The next phase of Block 88 is the Stonehouse development above the parking garage to build apartments and finish the retail space on Pickney. The other part is the demolition of Government East, the city's oldest parking garage, that is scheduled to happen in mid-July, and we will share more on that when it's time for Government East to go. Thank you, everybody, for coming today, and that's all I have.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Elstrup, the president of Downtown Madison, Inc. And I feel like I don't want to touch, this is like on a precipice here. Plus, I don't know if traffic's going to come up behind me. This is the most nerve-wracking press conference I've ever had without having to say anything. Well, so it's not. Okay, good. I'm ready if it is. So again, I'm Jason Elstrup with Downtown Madison, Inc. I wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone in the city because this has been a true public-private partnership. Whether or not it's the art on the side of the building, Stonehouse going upstairs, there's been so many different parts that have gone into this project. It's taken years, but we're glad to be here today because this is such an important project for downtown. I also want to say a few important thank yous. Obviously to the mayor for her perseverance on this project, to Alder Verveer for his years of working on this important project, and to George Austin, who's been a great friend of ours at DMI, who really has made sure that this project has moved forward. As I said before, this is a critical project for the long-term success of downtown Madison, and that's really for three main reasons. First, the garage creates density. Right? It creates a more vibrant economy and it creates a more sustainable footprint when you have a dense facility like this parking garage and all of the affordable housing and regular housing units that will happen upstairs thanks to Stonehouse. This density will help ensure that our locally owned small businesses will succeed. And this is important because we have so many local businesses. On State Street, 70% of those businesses are locally owned, and 62% of those businesses are owned by women and people of color. So it is important we have parking facilities like this so people can have access to our great local stores and restaurants downtown. Second, the garage adds more parking. I guess that's kind of a duh. But with over 15,000 residents 15,000 workers within 2 blocks of this facility, parking is badly needed. Plus, most importantly, and a nod to my friend Deb Archer, this location is within feet of 2 major tourism areas, the Monona Terrace and King Street. You cannot overstate the importance of tourism to the downtown economy and the economy in general. It's a $1.4 billion a year business in Dane County with over $300 million in economic impact from tourism coming directly to downtown. And many of our local shops say that it's 70% of their revenue comes from tourism and events. So having facilities like this really primes the tourist economy to succeed. Lastly, this project is amazing to me because it supports multimodal transportation and greater access to all modes literally within this one building. Whether or not it's pedestrians walking by on all the streets near, or if it's cars coming into park, or in bikes, or by bus. All access is here in this multimodal intersection, and this is so important when it is so difficult to get people in and out of the isthmus because it's a small strip of land. We have to have multimodal solutions, and this facility does so much to move that forward. I think we need to pay a nod to the Madison Bike Center, which will be located on the corner of, there they are, waving, the corner of, where am I? Doty and Carroll Street. I get turned around now that I'm on a hill. This Madison Bike Center is huge to the community and will really continue to push forward active transportation as a way to get downtown. If you don't know, Madison was just named the 2nd greatest bike community in America, thanks to the Bike League. This is where we need to be, but we need to grow more, and having things like the Madison Bike Center are key to this. So this really is truly a multimodal facility. The garage adds density, it adds more parking, and makes downtown more multimodal. That creates the economic and political and cultural heart to our city, which is downtown Madison. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everybody, and it really is a good morning. We haven't had a lot of great news downtown recently, certainly since the pandemic came to our community. So today's grand opening of our brand new Wilson Street Garage really is some great news for the downtown. Again, something that you all know we've been sorely lacking these days. You also all know that this is a long time coming. There aren't many of us here this morning that have been around for every twist and turn of the Judge Doyle Square project. But for those of us that have been, we have lived it, and we know that today is a huge sense of relief to finally have the first phase of Judge Doyle Square project open to the public. It's a real big deal. It really is. There's been so many twists and turns, bumps in the road, if you will, as it relates to Judge Doyle Square project. Something that has been discussed and debated by 3 different mayors, at least a half dozen different city council terms, too many city staff to count, and certainly too many volunteer members of the Transit and Parking Commission, now the Transportation Commission, to also count. I do want to certainly add my voice to the many thank yous that have already been articulated by the previous speakers. I'll get in trouble if I start naming a lot of names, but we would not be here today if it wasn't for the perseverance of the Judge Doyle Square project director, George Austin. George, I can't thank you enough for your perseverance, if nothing else, and guidance in getting us to where we are today, George. Thank you. And the other personal thank you I want to make is to the Wilson Street Garage project manager, Dave Schaller. Dave, I also think we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you. You know, I'm sure I said about a little over 2.5 years ago, we were here at the groundbreaking ceremony for this project. And I know I recognized at the time that it was a long time coming. But even once we broke ground, there were some unfortunate delays and twists and turns, largely caused by Mother Nature. And so I do want to really recognize the fact that folks have remained committed to this project, have stood behind this project. I obviously want to thank all that worked on this project, the myriad of city staff that faithfully worked to see this day occur, as well as the designers, the contractors, the subcontractors, and so forth. This is a big deal, not only because we finally have a sense of accomplishment for Judge Doyle Square, but because this garage is not just any old parking garage. Yes, it certainly is a desperately needed replacement for the aging Government East parking garage that I had been told by Sabrina and her many predecessors all the time I've been in City Hall was in desperate need of replacement, and that we literally were wasting money year after year keeping that garage properly maintained. But in addition to that, some of you know, the Judge Doyle Square project considered serious proposals to actually take the Government East garage offline and not have any public parking in this quadrant of the Capitol Square for a period of time as we worked on the development of these 2 blocks of downtown prime real estate. Well, luckily that actually did not come to pass, because this garage, and just as Government East was up until yesterday, really is a lifeblood, a lifeline for the small businesses that depend on this public parking. There were so many Capitol Square area, King Street area small business people that appealed to us and said, you cannot take the garage offline. We depend on it. Our customers depend on it. And luckily we did not. I also want to just remind everybody that this garage has unprecedented sustainability features in it in terms of the electric vehicle charging stations, the bicycle parking, the bicycle center that will be opening soon, which will be another exciting day, hopefully, that we can all get together for that grand opening. In addition, this is really excellent land use, having this garage be subterranean. This is the city's first parking garage that is underground, that is largely subterranean. None of the others are like this, including the one that we recently opened on Livingston Street. So that also is a real big deal, in my opinion, and I appreciate mayors past and present and council members past and present who made that commitment to, of course, add the additional funding that was necessary to put this parking garage underground. Lastly, let me also just acknowledge the fact that it really is important that we are showing progress downtown. These have been, and where I began, I can't tell you how painful and fatiguing the last few months have been downtown. It's just been horrific. It's been heartbreaking. And it really shows little sign of ending anytime soon, certainly when you speak of the pandemic, but not to mention all of the awful civil unrest we've seen and the violence and vandalism and so forth that the downtown has suffered in the last month or so. And so this really is a really well needed very importantly timed shot in the arm, I think, for downtown, that we're able to open this new garage, this facility that will make way for the opening of the bicycle center soon, that will make way for Stonehouse Development to move in with their contractors and begin construction above this facility with a multi-unit apartment building that will include at least 3 dozen affordable housing units. That all is a big deal. And so I am very excited to be here. I haven't been excited in a long time, to be perfectly honest with all of you, given what's been happening in our community. But this really is an exciting day. I thank you all for being here, and I'm sure we'd be happy to answer any questions if any of you have any. Thank you.
So now that we've concluded our speakers, we are going to drive an electric city fleet vehicle in through the entrance, officially opening the Wilson Street Garage, and Sabrina Tolley, the parking manager, will take care of that for us.